hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to talk about Rahu Ketu, the nodal axis, and Rahu Ketu's connection with Sun and Moon. So in the previous video we discussed about Sun and Saturn's connection, wherein the Sun is the identity, it is the core identity, it is the consciousness itself. Now when we talk about Moon, Moon is the core desire of being nurtured in a specific facet of life, and this desire is mostly towards the emotional side, and when it comes to emotions it is usually the mind which comes into play. So the moon is regarded as the mind and the sun is the main consciousness. Now even in solar system, if you see, the moon does not have its own light, it derives its light from the sun. So if sun was not there, there would have been no light on the moon. Let's understand Rahu and Ketu using two simple analogies. The first analogy would be regarding Rahu. Now in the night time, on the surface of the water of the lake, there is a reflection of the light from the moon. Now let's take this reflection of light of the moon as sun. Let's imagine that instead of moon there is sun in place of moon in this analogy, and the moon, we will place moon as the water, surface of the water. So when sun showers its light on the surface of the water, that is the moon or the water lights up. And now comes the part of Rahu. Suppose a stone is thrown into the same surface of water or the lake. The water forms ripples, and due to the ripples, the reflection of the light which came from the sun towards the surface of the water or the moon is now distorted, because the stone has been thrown and there are ripples in the water. The reflection of the light is no more seen as true to what it was before, because before the water was plain, it was calm, it was serene, but now since the stone has been thrown, there are ripples caused on the same surface of water. So that is what Rahu does. Rahu causes the distortion of the mind. So when we move towards the second analogy of Ketu, Ketu is the smoke which is remaining after a fire has been lit up. It has lit up so passionately that now it has exhausted its desire to lit itself up passionately, and now the fire is cooling down, and whatsoever smoke is remaining out of the fire is nothing but Ketu. It is the it again forms a certain level of distortion, and that's how we will relate Ketu to the second analogy. Let's take up an example which is relating to the day-to-day life, which is solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. So when we talk about solar eclipse, suppose we are the earth, and that is how we see a birth chart as well. We assume ourselves as earth, and the moon comes in between the sun and the earth in solar eclipse. Since moon is coming in between the sun and earth, the sun is no more visible. There is a distortion of the consciousness or the light of the soul, we can say. So this distortion is nothing but the shadow of Rahu, and this happens when sun and moon are in specific intersection point of Rahu. Only then the solar eclipse forms. That is when we ourselves, being on earth, are not able to see the light of consciousness or the sun directly. So there is a darkness or a night time during the solar eclipse for a couple of minutes, even if there is daytime during that time. So that is how solar eclipse is formed, and that is how we would connect it to the shadow of Rahu. And when there is lunar eclipse, it is because of Ketu, because when sun and moon are in intersection point of Ketu, that is when lunar eclipse is formed. And in lunar eclipse, we ourselves as earth are in between the sun and moon. So our shadow is casted on the moon rather than of sun's light. So the moon looks as a reddish or pinkish tint rather than the usual tone that it looks like when the sun's light is reflected on it. So even in that case, there is distortion, but it is not a black distortion. It is a different kind of distortion than Rahu. So again, there is distortion and there is shadow of Earth on the moon when there is lunar eclipse. And that is why we say that moon is eclipsed. So these are the day-to-day examples if we connect Rahu and Ketu to day-to-day life. Again, if we observe both Rahu and Ketu from the higher perspective, we can see that Rahu is the head part, which is always seeking out for desires. It is always hungry for certain ambitions, certain goals, and certain achievements. And the more it achieves that, the more it starts looking out for more. Because Rahu, being the head part, it has no body or no digestive system to digest that experience, so it lacks that. So Rahu here works as one extreme part of an experience, and alongside, if we see Ketu is the headless part, which is a body without head. So Ketu is here for us to experience the experience of being here, done that kind of experience, to feel detached after living the experience of ambition, after chasing through the desires, after chasing through the anger, after the passion is lived. Whatsoever detachment and whatsoever let go state is there, it is nothing but Ketu. So in order for us to again understand Ketu, it is also again a distinct and extreme part of the node. So when Rahu and Ketu are taken up as two different extremes, these two are working at extreme levels, which is in parts. In real sense, if we try and understand them as one similar experience, we would be able to integrate the experience of Rahu and Ketu, and they would no more be extremities in our life. Because Rahu rules the future part. Rahu rules the hunger of the future, and Ketu rules the regret of the past being lived up to a certain level. So Rahu being the hunger of the future, Ketu being the regret of the past, represents that we are living either in the future extreme or either we are living in the past extreme of Ketu. We need to live in the now. We need to look at the axis from a higher perspective and basically integrate Rahu and Ketu in our day-to-day experiences in life. It is said that the present holds the seed to the future, as well as it shows us what the past was, and hence the present should always be something which we should be living upon. So it is important for us to integrate Rahu and Ketu while living in the present moment, and no more working or living towards the extremes. So that is what Rahu and Ketu teaches us, to move towards our soul consciousness and our evolution and towards the sun. So that's how Rahu, Ketu, sun and moon are connected. If sun was not there in the solar system, there would have been no light towards the moon, and hence there would have been no shadow casted at all of the Rahu and Ketu. So that's how all is interlinked, and that's all for today, and I will be posting more videos on the channel, so stay tuned for more updates.